Sometimes I get a sweaty set of ear holes when using a typical over-the-ear set of headphones or even on-the-ear headphones like Beats, and that's where I've taken a keen liking to buds and IEMs recently. The gaming-specific features you get with a wireless set of buds, like chat game blend and EQ control, is very nice to have and works hand-in-hand with gaming because they're gaming buds. They're specifically designed for that. Along those lines, there is another set of buds that I do recommend more for the PlayStation 5 console. I think it pairs decadently with that platform. If you are on the Xbox or PC side of the house and you are looking for a good set of gizmos to go inside of your ear holes, the SteelSeries GameBuds have well exceeded my expectations. In this video, we're going to take a look at the hardware and the software, pod and the buds themselves, and go over the pros and cons. Let's do it. Quick disclaimer to my audience, the Stallions and Stallionettes. These buds were sent for review. I would snap my neck looking over shoulder on the timeline to figure out how many months ago SteelSeries sent out these GameBuds. 2 boxes were actually sent. I don't know if that was a little logistic mistake or just generosity. Their mistake is your gain, as that second set is going to one of you, the first one of you bucking Broncos to type buds in the description below, as in you and I are buds. We've always been friends. We'll be getting the second set, which is the one that I didn't unbox. It's still factory sealed, so that's cool. These are an authorized Xbox product, but they will work on PC as well. They do have 2 modes of wireless connectivity with a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, which is an interesting L shape. We'll talk about that in just a mo. And then Bluetooth. What variant? That is going to be 5.3. You do have an application available by scanning that QR code, and it gives away some of the key features like 360-degree spatial audio, which is a type of virtual surround, active noise cancellation, I'll say that again, ANC on these bad boys, and then it says it in some different languages. Reduction advert du brute, the scoot de brute. A little bit more lime green branding in case you forgot this is for Xbox, and then you have a pull tab, which will, Jesus Christ. Paper cut, and you have a pull tab, and if it's empty like this, you've been got. I've already busted into this though. You do have some documentation underneath this box. Keep that in mind if you like to read. And then this QR code is for the mobile app, which we also saw on the back of the box. They really want you to download that. Unfortunately, I am gonna have to list this plastic pod, this charging cradle, as a con. It is some very flimsy, cheap plastics, and also the hinge mechanism is not the best. Trying to do it one-handed here. Whoop, okay, we popped out a couple buds. Compared to the Explore Buds from Sony or a pair of AirPods, this case does not feel phenomenal, but it is going to work as a charging cradle. Popping up on screen here, the battery life per charge, and then how many repeated charges you can get out of this puck, which does luckily have a USB-C port as we are in 2025, but you occasionally see that micro USB port popping up on a product. The buds themselves are also a little bit plasticky and cheap in my personal opinion, other than the plastic being a little bit slippery and slick, is that ergonomically when I would go to pick them up, there would be several times where I'd pop them in my hole wrong. It'd be all whoppy jawed, and you would think after the first, I don't know, month or so of using these, it'd be surefire, where like the AirPod Pros or the Explore Buds, I keep mentioning those 2 wireless buds because I have a lot of experience with them, you can just grab those suckers, chuck them in your ear, one-handed, no-handed, super candid, whatever. And here I've had these for, oh geez, like almost 3 months now. Find myself fiddling and fumbling to get these in the right hole, in the right direction. So ergonomically, the shape just didn't do it for me, but this is subjective. How does it seat in the dock for charging? Pretty darn good, as you saw there. Ooh, both flashing red as they are dead. Never took the Peely sticker off the top. Kept her fresh. Another QR code in there. The app gripe or complaint is going to be this L-shaped USB dongle, this 2.4 gigahertz dongle. The Xbox Series consoles. I got a Series X over there and a Series S in the bedroom. Neither of those consoles have a USB-C port like the PlayStation 5 consoles. It's full-size USB-A, so you have to use a little adapter. On a PC, this is going to bump into the ports right next to whatever you're plugging this into on your motherboard I/O. I shouldn't laugh, it's not a laughing matter. Gloss or piano black, but it is hidden back here, so you don't have to worry about scratching that up or fingerprinting it up too bad because it's on the back. Also, the toggle is pretty small and difficult to hit, but how often are you going to be switching between your Xbox to PC? No, I'm asking seriously. If it's going to be a lot, it's going to upset you because it's a tiny little niblet. But the plastics do feel better on the dongle than it does on the buds. Less slippery and more durable and rugged. An interesting note for cosmetics and also platform functionality is the fact that the Xbox variant can be used on PS5 if you put the dip switch into PC, not Xbox. However, if you pop for the PlayStation variant, there is a white version, and it's white on the charging case as well as the buds themselves. Cosmetically, I think that looks better, but it's still the same plastics on the old clamshell. Where these buds blew me back from ass to crack is in comfort. It really did surprise me. Not what I just said to you, but how comfortable these freaky little buds were, because I was using these in my simulator rig in there for 2-3 hour long sessions when I wanted to zone out and go for a drive in a Assetto Corsa, just setting a dream location and a dream vehicle, going for a dream drive, so to speak. And I didn't want to go with my usual over-the-ear headset being the Odyssey Maxwells, which are phenomenal, but sometimes I like to mix it up and go with buds, to have things in my hole, not over my hole. Comfort with the included, I almost said ear cups because I do more over-the-ear headsets than I do buds, but these rubber inserts, there's only one size included, but these did fit me phenomenally well. They got a good seal to keep the sound in and out. They didn't feel hot or sweaty. They are a rubber silicone design, so you can rinse any debris or sweat or earwax off. There's also a large aftermarket for these buds, which is great because they haven't been out very long, and immediately third-party aftermarket support was available on Amazon, bunch of third-party vendors. As for range and lag, or latency, I should say, range was pretty dang good. For my uses, I was about 10 feet away, if that, from the transmitter as I was using it in the sim rig in that room. However, I did test it. I wasn't able to make it out of my house, but I was able to make it to the garage door, and as soon as I got in the garage, it's about 25-30 feet away, through some drywall and stuff, some walls, it started cutting out. So that's the range there. As far as lag or latency, I'm no freak beast competitive lord or anything, but I didn't notice any, so take that as you will. As far as onboard controls go, there is no slider where you can swipe up and down or a haptic presence sensor for volume, but there is a button that you actually do click in. It's not one of those presence sensor or anything. It's an actual physical button, which I do like. And that is on both buds. That will give you media control, single tap to pause and play, double tap to go to next track, triple tap to go to previous track. That worked with Pandora and Spotify and all the big ones that I tried. Even YouTube and Netflix, it'll pause the video that you're watching. If you triple tap, it will switch between 2.4 and Bluetooth. You will get an audio confirmation that you are switching between those two modes. Like some previous audio devices I have reviewed, this doesn't have simultaneous Bluetooth and 2.4G where you can pick up a phone call and be talking to your sweetheart while you're slapping the noobs around with the 2.4G connection or anything like that. But you could make Bluetooth tweaks with the app while you're actually gaming, which is pretty cool. I'm so steamed up right now. I've had these buds for months. I've been using them extensively, and I just realized this little cheat sheet code over here. I just said there's no control for volume. There actually is. You left tap and hold, right tap and hold. I didn't know about that either. You can actually mute. Look at me. I'm stunned right now. You can actually mute the microphone on the fly as well. I did know about the ANC. I was going to go over that, how the noise cancellation performs. As for the second most important thing, comfort being the most in my opinion, sound quality here. How do they sound? They have that typical leisure consumer listening Beats S-curve where the bass is thumping and pumping. The mids are not so present, and then we get a little bit of peak brightness over there. And one of the things I can really laud or praise the buds about is the equalizer tweaks make a tremendous difference. And these sounded really good. The only complaint I had was I wish they got a little bit louder, but that's a complaint I have of all wireless buds, AirPods, and you already know the other one I'm going to mention, the Explore buds for the PlayStation 5, which will get reviewed one of these days, one of these nights. As where IEMs get screaming loud, a couple of the pairs I have, I don't even need to turn up past like 60 percentile without doing some auditory damage. As where these kind of wireless earbuds, I can max them out with no pain, and I wish I had a little mo gain. I could go a little louder basically. At a surface glance or even a hard, stern look, the PC software and the application for phone look virtually identical, but you do get an additional piece of the puzzle on PC, and that is that you can create your own equalizer EQ. So we're gonna do that. You can pinch and resize, snap to the corners, full screen it. The application cosmetically looks pretty sweet. What can you do here? Quite a darn bit, but this is not the tab we're actually looking for. Come over here to Engine, GameBuds, critical mechanical update. So we've got a couple of preset equalizer curves, which I love to see. Flat or default is what I usually run, but you can create your own. There's game-specific ones in here. As you see, Alan Wake 2. That won some awards. Live mic preview lets you hear all the settings, the tweaks that you're making. Make sure you like it. Mic side tone is that continuous monitoring of your voice. And it does get pretty active, pretty loud, where you can hear yourself. It's pretty distracting. I personally don't like it. And ANC has its own section of the video, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here, but you can switch between the modes here, or you can do it from the headset's controls as well. Over here in the settings tab, you will have button mapping, which is fantastic, that you can customize this, and you do have a lot of control. More options scrolling up and down here. And this is an important setting, wear sense. If you prefer to wear one earbud occasionally, you got kids playing and you want to monitor them or something, then you will leave the setting to continue playing audio, and it won't your media off, cut your audio source off whenever you pull out an earbud. Love that for you and me as well. By default, 30 minutes is when it cuts off your buds after no audio has been pumped through them. That's a crazy long amount of time. 5 minutes, that sounds money. Then over here in the bottom right, click save. If you screwed anything up, restore to factory settings. Explore buds, which I mentioned a couple of times in the video, don't have any kind of noise cancellation, just passive by shoving them in your ear. And they kind of work like earplugs in that manner. But you get powered active noise cancellation with the SteelSeries GameBuds. And along those lines, it's not quite on par with AirPod Pros, but it did a good job of cutting out my HVAC system or my PC fans, light humming or buzzing, any kind of mechanical whirs and air purifier, any kind of static noises it did a phenomenal job with. Any kind of quick loud bursts like a lightning storm, it was not as good as the AirPod Pros. It's smoothing that out and making it non-hearable to the wearer. And then transparency mode was good, but it did sound a little bit artificial and tin canny as opposed to other competitors, which sound completely like you're wearing nothing when you turn on transparency. Well, the cons, the carrying case is a little bit plasticky and very cheap feeling. The opening and closing mechanism, the hinge, if you will, unsatisfactory. Included accessory-wise, you do have an adapter to get this USB-C dongle, 2.4G dongle, working on an Xbox Series console, but it is a cord, a 6-inch cable. I'd prefer it if it was an actual USB stick-of-gum looking ass adapter. That'd be great. There is no included ear cup, no included schnitzel silicone tip sizes. So everyone's ear holes are different sizes, but we're all going to be a medium with these, and these worked great. Like I mentioned, raved about them in the comfort section for me personally, but you're going to have to look to the aftermarket, which does exist for these, if you want bigger or smaller ear schnozzles, because there's none included. Just like the slick, slippery plastics of the case, the ergonomics of the buds themselves, and also the shape of them, me being assured every time I grab them quickly off my desk and shove them in my ears, a lot of times they'd be upside down or not. I'd have the left one and the right, or it just didn't work out for me as smooth as other buds have. Jumping over to the pros, the ANC works phenomenally. Battery life, 10 hours is okay with the buds, but then you pop them in the dock, you got up to 40 hours. And then the case uses fast charging, where 15 minutes of juice charging it gets it 3 hours of usage, so that's a perk. These are super comfortable right out of the box, sound phenomenal. I would say right there with the Explore buds, which are actually planar magnetic drivers. If you're on the PS5 side of the house, I would lean towards those. I would personally choose those, but if you're on the Xbox or PC side of the house, yeah, these GameBuds are sick. So overall, a fantastic set of buds. They are going to be linked in the description below, alongside any exclusive discount codes for my audience. I'll see you Stallions and Stallionettes tomorrow.